want to tell you a story I've never fully told on camera before. Not because it's embarrassing, but because for a long time, I didn't fully understand what it meant. I do now, and I think it might be the most important thing I can share with you today. I was 29 years old. I had run a marathon 5 months earlier. My wife and I were active, running and cycling regularly. We considered ourselves healthy. Everyone around us considered us healthy. We were vegetarian, and I had been for years, and I genuinely believed that vegetarianism was the pinnacle of human health. Not for the ethical reasons, not for the environment. I thought it was simply the best possible thing a person could do for their body. I was wrong, but I didn't know that yet. One morning, I sat down at the breakfast table. In front of me was what I considered a healthy vegetarian breakfast. Fake sausage links made from processed soy, waffle with butter and maple syrup, a huge glass of orange juice, and before I finished eating, I noticed something that sent my stress through the roof. Something I immediately looked up on the internet, which, as you can imagine, made everything significantly worse. I sat there stewing, heart started racing, my mind was spiraling, stress at a level I couldn't imagine. And then my wife said something to me and I tried to respond, and next thing I knew, I was on the floor. I had passed out at my own breakfast table. I woke up a few moments later with her standing over me on the phone with 911 because she had no idea what had happened or whether I was okay. We went to the hospital, everything checked out, but I followed up with my primary care physician and he ran a full battery of tests. When the results came back, he looked at me and said something I wasn't prepared for. "You're showing up as pre-diabetic." I couldn't quite process that. I had just run a marathon 5 months earlier. I was active, I was vegetarian, I thought I was doing everything right. And he said something that has stayed with me ever since. Just because you ran a marathon 5 months ago doesn't mean you're healthy today. That was the wake-up call. But here's the honest part. I didn't fix everything overnight because that's not how real change works. What I did was I started a process. I began adjusting my nutrition, increasing my protein, reducing simple carbs, adding more vegetables. But I was still vegetarian, still operating inside the same framework, still limited by what that label allowed. My main protein source was basically soy. Processed soy products, lots of them. I was making progress. I was moving in the right direction, but I was still missing something fundamental and I didn't have the education yet to know what it was. That education came about 3 or 4 years later when I was introduced to paleo. Now, I want to be clear about something because I work with vegetarians and vegans regularly, and I don't want what I'm about to say to land the wrong way. Vegetarianism and veganism can absolutely be healthy. Paleo can be a powerful tool, particularly as an elimination protocol to identify foods that are driving inflammation. I've seen both work beautifully when applied with real nutritional knowledge behind them. The difference is education and application. Any dietary framework can work. Any dietary framework can fail. What determines the outcome isn't the label, it's whether you understand what your body actually needs within that framework and whether you're consistently giving it those things. My problem wasn't vegetarianism. My problem was that I was using a label as a substitute for knowledge. That label, it felt like enough. It wasn't. So when I discovered paleo, I want to be clear. I wasn't abandoning my values or declaring vegetarianism wrong. I was running an experiment. What happens if I shift gears completely and actually give my body the nutrients it had been missing? The results were immediate and dramatic. I gained approximately 15 pounds of muscle in just a few months, doing nothing different in my training. Same CrossFit workouts, 4 to 6 days a week. The variable was what I was fueling my body with. And then something happened and I didn't expect. My allergies, which had been debilitating for years, significantly subsided. There were times each year when the cherry blossoms would completely put me out of commission. Sneezing, congestion, unable to function. And after my diet, they stopped bothering me. I didn't change my environment. I didn't take new medication. I changed what I was fueling my body with, and my body responded in a way that went beyond what I was expecting. But here's the most important part of this story. Paleo isn't where I landed either. Because paleo is just another extreme, another label, another set of rules that tells you what you can and can't eat without necessarily teaching you why. I'm not paleo, I'm not vegetarian, I'm not vegan. I don't follow a program or subscribe to a label. What I am is educated, balanced, honest about what my body needs and why. I eat with intention and flexibility, and with the understanding that nutrition and with an understanding of nutrition that took me years of honest experimentation to build. And what I bring to every client I work with, whatever their dietary preferences, whatever their values, whatever framework they choose to live inside, is exactly that. We work within your life. We make sure the framework is actually fueling you. We fill in the gaps that the label alone can't fill. Because the label was never the point. Your body getting what it needs consistently, sustainably, over time, that's the point. I found the middle, not because someone handed it to me, because I kept asking honest questions and staying open to what the answers revealed, even when they required me to completely change what I thought I knew. And that journey from the breakfast table to the floor, to where I stand today is the foundation of everything I teach. Here's what I want you to take from this. Progress over perfection is not a motivational slogan. It's a description of how real change actually works. It's messy, it's non-linear, it involves trying things that don't work, adjusting honestly, and keep going anyways. I was using vegetarianism without the education it required. I was using paleo as a discovery tool and it worked, but it wasn't the destination. And somewhere between those two extremes, over years of honest experimentation, I found something that actually works for my body, my life, and my long-term health. You don't have to take the long road I took. The Foundational 5 assessment at CoachMikeHealy.com is the honest starting point I never had at 29. 5 questions across 5 habit areas: sleep, gratitude, nourishment, hydration, and movement. Perfect score required, just an accurate picture of where you actually stand right now, so we can build from there instead of from assumptions. That assessment is the thing I wish someone had handed me the morning I woke up on the kitchen floor. A clear, honest look at where I actually was, not where I thought I was. Take it, it's free, and it's the most honest thing you can do for your health right now. Stop waiting for the perfect version of yourself to begin. Start with an honest version you already are. I'll see you in there.